I hope you don't mind. I didn't have time to finish my breakfast. I'll share. Would you like some? Would you? There you go. You're welcome. It's good stuff. But you know, sorry, I gotta talk while I eat. You're not supposed to do that. This is really good. Do you know what's even better? You ever tried salt on your apple? You never have? It's really pretty good. And salt is good for you. Because salt, it kind of does like, it brings out the flavor of the apple. You want to try some? Trust me, do you? It's, how good salt, sweet and salty together. I mean, that's why they have sweet and salty caramel and salty caramel with chocolate. I'm pretty sure that when I first heard that, I think I thought that might be a little bit weird. But I actually thought it's kind of weird to add salt in the ingredients for cookies. I'm like, why would you add salt? Well, it brings out the flavor. It makes things really good. Without salt, we wouldn't have these beautiful colors that everybody's wearing. They use salt in color dye to make the colors last. Without the salt, the colors would just wash right out. I didn't know that. That makes salt pretty important. Also, they use salt on leather. So without salt, I don't know that I would have these leather shoes or my leather keychain or my leather earrings. They use salt when they make leather. And here's the most important part. Salt they use when they're making plastics. So guess what? Without salt, we wouldn't have any toys. Devastating. Yeah. Never realized how important salt was, but it is. And it was even more important years ago because they used it to preserve a lot of things. And I think that's probably why it's an example where we're instructed to be salt. Be salt? I don't want to be a pile of salt. So let me just share a little bit with you. In Mark chapter 9, verse 50. Salt is good, but if salt has lost its saltiness, how can you make it salty again? Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with one another. Salt can do all those things that I just mentioned, and we're supposed to be like salt. We're supposed to be adding color to the world. We're supposed to be adding love, living, bringing life to things, not just going through things. Be the salt. So, yeah, I like salt on my fries. I like salt on my apples. But now, I think it's more important that we want to be the salt in other people's lives. Will you pray with me? God, we're here today because we need you. And we need you to help us to add flavor to the world with your love. To be to others what they need and what you want us to be. Just as your Son Jesus taught us. It's in his name that we pray. Amen.
This is, excuse me. This is a day where these words, I think, work really well if you hear in the context of Mark's Gospel, the whole ninth chapter. I'm not going to read the whole ninth chapter. You get my version. It starts with the Transfiguration story where Jesus and a few of his disciples go up on this mountain. They have this God moment up there. They come down from on top of the mountain, and he sees this commotion among the people gathered at the base of the mountain, and it's a fellow had brought his child who had issues, and the other disciples couldn't heal him. And so there was this argument going on, and Jesus comes up and heals the little boy. And then they settle in somewhere, and Jesus is trying to teach his disciples, and then that's when they get into this argument about who of them is the greatest as they're walking along. And Jesus says, he calls on them. And then in trying to explain how the system works, he invites a little boy into their group. You can just picture Jesus with a little boy on his lap, perhaps, as he's instructing his disciples. That, unless you welcome one as a little one like this, that's what it is to be servant of all. That's where today's story starts in. I want you to imagine that they're still together, and because we split it here for some reason. That little boy, that little child is still sitting on Jesus' lap. And John says, "Teacher, we saw a man driving out demons in your name, and we told him to stop because he's not one of us." "Don't stop him," Jesus said. "No one who does a miracle in my name can in the next moment say anything bad about me. For whoever is not against us is for us. I tell you the truth. Anyone who gives you a cup of water in my name because you belong to Christ will certainly not lose his reward. And if anyone causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to be thrown into the sea with a large millstone tied around his neck. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life maimed than with two hands to go into hell, where the fire never goes out. And if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life crippled than to have 2 feet and be thrown into hell. And if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of God with one eye than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into hell, where their worm does not die and the fire is not quenched. Everyone will be salted with fire. Salt is good, but if it loses its saltiness, how can you make it salty again? Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with each other. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Anybody else in here find those words sort of disturbing? I do. Did you know that this is Gouge Your Eye Out Sunday? There it is. And I'm going to tell you that in the past, I've done my best at dancing around this gospel reading and going around to the other texts for today and to skip on by it. But somehow today I couldn't let it go. Here's part of the reason why. 50 years ago, when I was but a little teenager, a group tried to form among congregations in the Raymond and Harville area youth group. Youth. We had a name, I forget what it was. Youth in Action or something like that. And we determined that the group of us were going to go to this campground by Litchfield Lake for the weekend, sort of a retreat. And so we had some adults with us, we were out there camping. And it was a Sunday morning, I believe, and they gathered us around, and one of the people that was one of the adult leaders was going to lead us in the Bible he brings up this ring on a bunch of teenagers. And he looks right at me and he goes, what do you think of that? And I said, it sounds a little bit gory and messy. You know, whacking off hands and feet, plucking out eyes, this can't be good. It had enough of an impact on me that I've never forgotten. I've been doing a lot of Bible studies in my time, and that one sticks out. But what's the point? Well, it goes back to this thing where John says, now remember now, Jesus is still sitting there and he's trying to tell them about the first to be last and the greatest to be the one who's a servant of all and the little child thing. He's got the little kid sitting there. And right then John says, well, Jesus, we saw this guy casting out demons in your name and we told him he had to quit it. Remember when I just told you this a little bit before that he came down off the mountain with the three disciples and saw this argument going on because the other disciples couldn't heal this boy. They're jealous. This guy is doing it, and he's not supposed to be doing it, Jesus. We gotta stop that. Messing up the brain. You know, we're it. Can't have other people. We're the ones. Huh. Things haven't changed much. I just heard this from Debbie that this got mentioned yesterday at the PW meeting at the national gathering in Louisville. Some ladies decided they were going to walk up the street a little bit and get coffee at Starbucks. And on the way back, they came across a group of another, I'm not going to mention another denomination, but another denomination, a little more fundamental, protesting Presbyterian women for their stand on grace. I believe this is right in there with Jesus. We told them to stop because they're not doing it right. Things haven't changed. That we're not in competition. This is a group effort. The one family of God. We don't all see things the same way. But it's so much more fun to talk about them. And the stuff that they're doing wrong or not right, and to look at ourselves. And I think that's what Jesus was getting at when he gets in this part about if your hand causes you sin, cut it off. If your foot causes you sin, cut it off. If your eye causes you sin, plug it out. In other words, look, concentrate on yourself. Start there first. Correct. Realize. Change. What's going on in your life that's holding you back from being in this full relationship with the world of people around you and with your God? First. And then come to understand what it is to be at peace with each other. We've had examples of that this week. Just the opposite. Anybody watched it? Oh, Robin thinks I'm so excited. I didn't have the opportunity to watch it, but I heard part of it on Thursday. The hearings. You talk about, just putting it right out there, pure ugliness of power and position and causing little ones to stumble. That was it. Because the two principal players in that hearing were nothing but pawns for the parties seated around in the chairs around in their big political battles be right what they consider to be wrong. Left and right, liberal, conservative, put a face on it, I don't care. And Lindsey Graham asked a very interesting question there at the end. When he finally got fed up with it, he said, Judge Kavanaugh, do you realize that you're in hell? He goes, and the judge said, yeah, hell is a little bit more. Well, what's hell? Hell is being in the absence of the love of God. And it wasn't there. It wasn't there. But one of the most beautiful moments of that, and Lindsay acknowledged this as well. And I'm not a fan of Lindsey Graham. He acknowledged, he saw it, he acknowledged it. It's when Judge Kavanaugh said that his 10-year-old daughter said, we should pray for her. There's the little child sitting on the lap of Jesus, giving voice to what's going on in that room. That there's something higher, that there's something greater. That it is possible to live in right relationship with each other, to be at peace with each other, to come to understand what it is to love. And I think that's what Jesus is challenging us through this in this passage. What is holding us back from loving fully as Jesus is loved? Be salty. Be salty. Jackie, with her illustration of the salt on the apple, I noticed yesterday, my wife nicely put some food in this lunch bag of mine, and I take it with me on the common. And she gives me things to snack on through the day. And one of them is this little Ziploc bag of some trail mix. And it's just got some really nice, got some walnuts in there, some almonds and some raisins and stuff. And it's the salt off the nuts really makes raisins taste great. It really does. I noticed that. I said, man, these are really good. It's that salt adds something to it that enhances the relationship of the other things in there, the nuts and the raisins. That is the salt. Jesus said, you're that salt to the world. You're the one that brings color to the relationships through my love. The other thing about salt in those days was that it was a method of payment. It was currency. The Roman soldiers were paid in salt. It's where the word salary comes from. Salt. It has value. Jesus says you have value. Realize the value you have in yourself. And then share it into the world. And when you do that, you might discover what it is to be at peace with one another. This is certainly not one of those times to take Jesus' words literally, because I'm looking around the room, I don't see anybody limping, short of hand, or with a patch, or not. Because I don't believe that was the point. But it gets our attention as to what is Jesus speaking so exaggeratedly about. I'm pretty sure I've got a song. I invite you to stand.